Hey everyone, and welcome back. Seems like all anyone can talk about these days is Palantir,
Yeah, ticker symbol PLTR.
and for good reason.
Yeah.
This stock has been absolutely on fire lately, and
Mm.
a lot of you want to know what's really going on.
Absolutely.
What's driving this huge surge, and is it going to last?
Right.
So to get to the bottom of all this, we've got a mountain of stuff here, actually.
Oh, yeah.
We've got financial reports, market analysis, even some chatter that we've picked up from the retail investors.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're going to break it all down for you today and try to figure out, is this the start of something huge, or are we just looking at a classic hype bubble?
Yeah, I think that's the big question.
Yeah.
A lot of folks are scratching their heads over Palantir because it's kind of this weird mix of undeniable growth, but also some really sky-high valuations. So,
Well, let's start with the good news first.
okay.
Palantir just really knocked it out of the park with their Q3 2024 performance.
Yeah.
I mean, they absolutely crushed those revenue estimates, brought in $725.52 million.
Wow.
And you ready for this? Their U.S. commercial revenue was up 54%.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And on top of all that, they even raised their full-year guidance.
Music to an investor's ears.
That's right.
That's a great sign. Oh. This is really interesting because it's not just some random lucky streak, you know? Palantir is very carefully, strategically positioned to capitalize on this wave of what their CEO Alex Karp calls unrelenting AI demand.
Oh, wow.
I think that quote really says it all.
Yeah.
The AI platform that Palantir has is really starting to gain some serious traction, especially when you look at their partnerships with some of the major players like Amazon Web Services and Anthropic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're really putting themselves right at the forefront of this whole AI revolution.
So it's not just hype, then, you're saying?
No, not at all.
There's some real substance behind this growth.
Oh, absolutely. The numbers back it up. Their customer base have grown 71% since December of 2022.
Wow.
And in the U.S. commercial sector, they saw a jump of 124.5% in just customers.
Those are huge numbers.
That's huge.
But okay, let's talk about what everybody really wants to talk about.
Let's do it.
The stock price.
Oh, yeah.
PLTR has been
On a tear.
on a tear lately.
Yeah.
So is this climb justified, or are we all getting a little carried away with the AI hype?
$1 million question.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because some analysts seem to think that this rally has legs. You got firms like Wedbush, Mizuho, D.A. Davidson. They're all pretty bullish on Palantir, and they've actually gone ahead and raised their price targets. After that incredible Q3 report, they see this move into AI as a real game changer.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just the big institutions, though, is it?
No.
I mean, I've seen so much chatter about Palantir online. The retail investors are really fired up about this one.
You're right, and even Deutsche Bank noted PLTR's entrenched retail investor following, which suggests that, yeah, that grassroots enthusiasm is really adding fuel to the fire here. And then you look at things from a technical perspective, and it's a very overbought situation. You look at the Relative Strength Index, or RSI, which is sitting pretty high at 81.66. So in layman's terms, that just means the stock has been rising super rapidly and might be due for a correction, at least in the short term.
So there's a lot of excitement, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all smooth sailing ahead.
Right.
We need to talk about the potential downsides here.
For sure.
What are some of the red flags that investors should be aware of?
Well, I think even the analysts who are raising their price targets are sounding a little bit of a note of caution about Palantir's valuation.
Okay.
It's trading at some pretty hefty price-to-earnings ratios.
Okay.
We're talking 278.13 for the past 12 months
Wow.
and 123.37 looking forward. So basically what that means is investors are paying a premium for each dollar of Palantir's earnings,
Okay.
which really indicates some pretty high expectations for future growth.
Yeah.
So if they don't live up to those expectations, the stock price could definitely take a hit.
Makes sense. And there's another thing that I think sometimes gets swept under the rug.
What's that?
Stock-based compensation.
Right.
Palantir shelled out a pretty hefty $142.4 million in stock to its employees just in Q3.
Wow.
Which is,
That's a lot.
it's a common practice in the tech world,
Yeah.
but it can actually hurt existing shareholders.
Right, because it's like slicing a pie into more and more pieces.
Right.
Each share represents a smaller ownership of the company.
Exactly.
So that can dilute the value over time.
And here's a bit of a sobering thought.
Okay.
Despite all this positive momentum, the average analyst price target for Palantir suggests a potential drop of 41.98% from where it's trading right now.
Wow, that's a big reality check.
So it seems like we've got this fascinating company that's at a crossroads.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
On the one hand, Palantir's got this undeniable momentum. They're riding this wave of the AI boom, and they've really dug themselves into some powerful sectors.
That's right.
But
But there are these nagging questions about whether their sky-high valuation is actually sustainable in the long run.
yeah, that's the big unknown here.
The huge question mark.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've looked at the good, the bad, and the uncertain when it comes to Palantir.
Right.
What does all this mean for you, the listener? What should you be thinking about as you try to make sense of this company and this stock?
The key question here is, can Palantir deliver value that justifies that premium price tag?
Yeah.
Can they keep growing at this breakneck pace? Can they outmaneuver their competition
Right.
and maintain their edge in this rapidly evolving AI landscape? Those are the things that you really need to grapple with.
This deep dive has given you the information,
That's right.
but ultimately the decision is yours.
Investing is all about weighing risk and reward.
Yeah.
And with Palantir, both the potential upside and the potential downside are pretty significant.
So do your own research, dig into the details,
Absolutely.
and come to your own conclusions.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Palantir. You know, in part one, we talked about their impressive growth and their AI ambitions and those sky-high valuations that seem to be making everyone pretty nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
So now I think it'd be interesting to kind of shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and explore some of the lesser-known aspects of their business,
Yeah, I like that.
the things that don't always make it into the headlines, you know?
Right.
I think you'll find this stuff pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm all ears. I always love getting a peek behind the curtain, especially with a company as complex and intriguing as Palantir.
Right.
So what's something about Palantir that most people probably wouldn't know?
Well, one thing that often gets overlooked is Palantir's commitment to what they call forward-deployed software engineers.
Forward deployed software engineers.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, these aren't your typical software developers just sitting in a cubicle somewhere, you know?
Okay.
These are engineers who are actually embedded directly with Palantir's clients,
Wow.
working side by side with them to solve problems in real time.
Hold on. So it's not just about selling software then.
Right.
They're actually sending their engineers out into the field to work directly with their clients.
That's exactly right.
That's a pretty hands-on approach,
Very.
especially in the world of enterprise software,
Yeah.
where, a lot of times it feels like it's all about just closing deals and moving on.
It is a very different model.
Yeah.
They're not just vendors. They see themselves as partners in problem solving.
Okay.
And I think that approach really speaks volumes about their focus on building those deep, long-term relationships with their clients,
Yeah.
not just going for those quick transactional sales.
So it's about building trust then
Trust.
and becoming kind of an indispensable part of their clients' operations.
Precisely. And it seems to be paying off.
Okay.
You know, this hands-on approach really allows Palantir to understand their clients' needs at a very deep level and then tailor their solutions in a way that I don't think other companies can.
Right.
And it also creates a very strong sense of loyalty,
Yeah.
which makes it much less likely for clients to jump ship and go with a competitor.
Right. They're not going to want to leave if they're already so embedded.
Exactly. They're basically weaving themselves into the fabric of their clients' businesses.
That's a really smart strategy, I think.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about the kinds of high-value, mission-critical applications that Palantir is involved in.
Right.
I mean, we're not just talking about software that automates some routine tasks here.
No.
This is software that's helping organizations make critical decisions
Right.
in things like national security, disaster response, even healthcare.
Absolutely.
These are life or death situations
That's right.
where trust and reliability are absolutely paramount.
You hit the nail on the head, and I think that leads us to another really fascinating aspect of Palantir.
Okay, what's that?
It's their commitment to solving some of the world's toughest challenges.
Okay.
You know, they're not just focused on profits here. They're genuinely trying to make a difference. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been involved in everything from tracking down terrorists to helping fight pandemics.
Like they're trying to be the tech world's version of superheroes.
Yeah,
Using their powers for good. That's a good way to put it. Which is a pretty compelling narrative, I think.
it is.
Especially in a world where tech companies are often criticized for putting profits ahead of people.
For sure. And this narrative is resonating with a lot of investors,
Yeah.
especially those who are looking to put their money behind companies that are making a positive impact on the world.
Yeah, people want their investments to mean something.
It's a powerful combination.
Okay, so we've got this company that's deeply embedded with their clients. They're solving complex global challenges.
Right?
And they're attracting investors who actually believe in their mission.
Right.
It's a pretty unique story.
Right.
Let's be realistic.
Okay.
They're also operating in a very fiercely competitive landscape.
Absolutely.
How do they stay ahead of the game?
Right.
Especially with giants like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, all vying for dominance in this AI space.
Yeah, that is the billion-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
They can't just rest on their laurels. To maintain their edge, they're going to have to keep innovating, stay ahead of that technological curve,
Yeah.
and just continue to find ways to deliver that unique value that those tech behemoths just can't match.
That's tough to do.
It is. They're going to have to be nimble, adaptable, and constantly pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, so it's not just about having the cool technology.
No.
It's about the execution.
Absolutely.
Staying ahead of the curve and anticipating the needs of their clients before they even know they have them.
That's right. It's a tall order.
It is a tall order.
And then there's another challenge that they're going to have to navigate very carefully.
Okay, what's that?
This whole issue of regulation and ethical considerations around AI.
Yeah.
I mean, as AI becomes more and more pervasive in our lives,
Right?
concerns about privacy, bias, and potential misuse are only going to grow louder.
Right.
Palantir cannot afford to ignore those concerns.
Especially with their history of working with government agencies.
Exactly.
They're going to be under intense scrutiny. They need to be extra careful to avoid even the perception of impropriety.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to convince everyone, not just their clients, but the public at large, that they are using their AI responsibly and ethically.
It is a tightrope walk.
It is.
And, you know, this brings us back to that fundamental question that we keep coming back to.
Right.
Can Palantir justify their premium valuation?
Yeah.
Their future hinges not only on their ability to maintain this incredible growth trajectory that they've got,
Right.
but also their ability to navigate all of these complex challenges.
It's like they're playing this high-stakes game of chess.
Yes.
And they're making some very bold moves.
They are.
But that ultimate outcome is still so uncertain.
Right.
They could become this dominant force in the AI landscape.
Yeah.
Or they could stumble and fall behind.
Very true.
It's a fascinating story unfolding before our very eyes.
It certainly is. And in part 3 of our deep dive,
Yes.
we'll delve even deeper into Palantir's long-term prospects, exploring some of those key factors that I think are really going to determine their ultimate success or failure.
You won't want to miss it. All right, so welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Palantir.
Yeah,
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
we have.
We've gone through their impressive financials, their ambitious AI plans,
Right.
but also some of the potential risks and ethical challenges that they face.
Absolutely.
So now I want to shift our focus to the future.
Okay.
What does the road ahead actually look like for Palantir?
Right.
What are the key factors that are really going to make or break their success in the long run?
Yeah, I think that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And there are no easy answers.
Right.
But I think a good place to start might be just looking at some of the trends that are shaping the whole AI landscape
Okay.
and how Palantir is positioning itself to kind of capitalize on those trends.
Yeah, so let's gaze into our crystal ball here for a minute.
Right.
What trends are you seeing that could have a major impact on Palantir's future?
Well, one of the most significant trends that I'm seeing is this growing demand for AI solutions that are not just powerful, but also explainable and trustworthy.
Okay. Explainable and trustworthy.
Yeah, you know, organizations are starting to realize that they really need to be able to understand how AI is actually making decisions,
Okay.
especially when those decisions have really significant consequences.
Right, like when it comes to things like healthcare or national
It could be
security,
really high-stakes situations.
you really need to be able to trust those AI insights.
Absolutely.
So it's not enough to just have an AI that can, crunch numbers and spit out predictions.
Right.
You need to be able to trust those predictions and understand the reasoning behind them.
Absolutely.
And so where does Palantir fit into all of this?
Well, I think this is where they actually might have a bit of an advantage
Okay.
because their focus on working so closely with their clients, having those engineers embedded in the field,
Right.
it gives them a really deep understanding of how decisions are made in those organizations and how AI can be integrated into those processes in a way that actually builds trust and transparency.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
It's not just about the tech.
It's about that human element,
Right, the human factor.
the understanding of how people and AI can work together effectively.
Exactly. And another major trend that we're seeing is this increasing convergence of AI with other technologies.
Okay, like what?
like cloud computing and edge computing.
Edge computing. Now, there's a term I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, it's becoming a big deal.
So break that down for me. What is edge computing, and why is it so important for AI?
Okay, so imagine you have an AI system that's monitoring some critical infrastructure,
Okay.
like a power grid or a transportation network.
High-stakes stuff.
Exactly. You don't want that system to be completely reliant on a centralized cloud server that could be slow to respond
Right.
or even, go offline.
That would be bad.
That would be really bad.
Yeah.
So you need the AI to be able to process that data and make those decisions in real time, right there at the edge of the network.
So edge computing is about bringing the processing power closer to where the action is.
Exactly.
So it's about making AI more responsive and resilient, basically.
Exactly. And Palantir is already making moves in this space.
They are.
Yeah, they've partnered with companies like AWS to actually develop those edge-based AI solutions
Okay.
that can operate in these remote and challenging environments.
That's smart.
So this could give them a significant advantage in sectors like defense and intelligence, where that real-time decision-making is so critical.
So they're not just betting on AI as like a standalone technology.
Right.
They're looking at how it can be integrated into this larger ecosystem of interconnected systems.
Exactly. A very forward-thinking approach.
And this also highlights how important partnerships are in this AI world, right? Because no one company can do everything alone.
Absolutely.
Palantir's ability to kind of forge these strong partnerships with other tech leaders.
It's going to be crucial.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial for their long-term success. Okay, so we've talked about explainable AI, the convergence of AI with other technologies, the importance of these partnerships.
Right.
Anything else on your radar that you think could shape Palantir's future?
One more trend that I think is worth mentioning is this growing focus on AI for sustainability.
Oh, that's interesting.
As the world grapples with challenges like climate change and resource scarcity,
Right.
there's this increasing demand for AI solutions that can help us make better use of our resources,
Okay.
reduce our environmental impact, and just build a more sustainable future.
Yeah, that's a really interesting angle. I hadn't really thought about how AI could be used in that way.
It's becoming a big deal.
Does Palantir have any kind of play in that space?
They are starting to.
Okay.
Yeah, they've actually announced a few initiatives recently that are focused on using AI to optimize energy consumption,
Okay.
reduce waste, and improve supply chain efficiency.
So they're getting on board with that then.
Yeah, it's still early days, but I think this could become a really significant growth area for them in the coming years.
So it seems like Palantir is at this really pivotal point in their journey right now.
I think that's a good way to put it.
They got this incredible momentum. They're riding this huge wave of the AI boom.
For sure.
And they're making these strategic moves to position themselves for the future.
They are.
But they're also facing some really serious challenges.
Right.
Those high valuations, that intense competition, and of course those ethical concerns surrounding AI.
Absolutely. It's almost impossible to predict what the future holds for them.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a fascinating story, and we've really only just begun to see how it's going to unfold.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
It is.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just someone who's curious about the future of technology, Palantir is a company that demands attention.
Absolutely.
They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
They are.
And their story is far from over.
This deep dive has given you a little glimpse into the world of Palantir, their ambitions, their challenges, and their potential to really shape the future.
Okay.
And now, armed with all of this knowledge, it's really up to you to decide what you make of it all.
Exactly.
So do your own research, stay informed, and just keep watching this space.
That's right.
The future of AI is being written right now, and Palantir is right at the heart of it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Palantir.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with another fascinating exploration of a company that's really shaping the future.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, stay curious.